Hey folks, Nick here from another BookTube channel, and today I forgot to do a wrap up last month, so this month is going to be a 2 month wrap up, July and August. And this is going to be also the finale, I guess, of Garbaugust. For the past month, I've been celebrating trashy literature, uh, an event set up by Criminali, and I just want to say thank you to him for creating this event, for having me on as one of the co-hosts. And just thank you to the rest of the co-hosts, the gaggers that did this together. Just really great inclusive group. It was really fun getting to know everybody. So I'm really happy to be part of that community. So it's been a really, really good time. And it's been really cool to be reading books that I wouldn't have normally read without an event like this. And I think it's actually changed my reading habits a little bit, for sure. I think I probably will read some more trashy stuff in the future. In particular, maybe like movie tie-ins and novelizations, because I had a lot of fun with that stuff. This will just be a recap of everything that I read in July and August. Excuse me. I will start with the Garbaugust books, which made up the bulk of the reading for the past 2 months. So I obviously read them in August for Garbaugust. Some books that I don't have physical copies of in front of me. Halloween 5, The Revenge or Return of Michael Myers, I don't know, by Jake Martin, which was the unofficial novelization of the movie. I put up a video, a full review of that one, if you want more information about it, but it was pretty good. It was basically a fan-made work, not an official novelization. Had a lot of controversy surrounding it. So, again, if you want to hear more about that controversy, check out that full video that I did. Another book was Paperback from Hell, Let's Go Play at the Adams by Mendel W. Johnson. Also have a full review of that one up. Wasn't a huge fan of it. About a story about a babysitter who's basically held captive by the children that she's supposed to be babysitting. Their friends come over and they torture her and all that stuff. There was some good conversation on that video in the comments from people who disagreed with my assessment that I said that it was pretty surface level and there wasn't a lot to it. And there was some interesting counterpoints brought there about how the book was a reflection of the time and what kids were seeing on the news with like the Vietnam War going on. So kind of interesting there. So that's why I always encourage comments. Another book I read that I did not do a video on, this was for books written by a celebrity. I read The Reservoir by David Duchovny, and I was really surprised. I enjoyed it quite a bit. Duchovny has some good writing chops, for sure. It was about, let me see if I can remember. It was about this like retired Wall Street guy in his New York City like skyline apartment during COVID, like the height of COVID, who is who sees what he thinks to be like a message from another tenant in another building across the way. Like at night, they'll flip their light switches, and he thinks that it's a message for him, and it's about him kind of trying to find out what that message is and meet that other person. It becomes a bit of a fever dream, and it's very slight. It's just a novella, a little bit over 100 pages. I would recommend it. I think it was pretty solid book and a lot better written than I anticipated it to be. Moving into some of the physical books that I read for Garbaugust, Lady Killer by Ed McBain. This is part of the 87th Precinct Mystery. This is my first Ed McBain book. Really my first like police procedural, a genre that doesn't super interest me a ton. But I kind of categorize this as men's adventure, and it was really good. I got this from a used bookstore, and they had a huge stack of the other 87th Precinct Mysteries. I would like to go back there and see if they're still there. I got this one for $1, so if I can get the rest of the stack for a similar price, I might come home with a whole bunch of them. So Really enjoyed that one. This one, not so much. Lord of the Vampires by Gina Showalter. I read this for the genre romance week, and I DNF'd this one, which I admitted in the video I made about it. So I'll count this as 0.5. My first attempt at genre romance. It wasn't really my thing. I recognize that there might be people out there. I mean, obviously there are people out there that enjoy this type of stuff, but I didn't get it. Paperback from hell here, Sins of the Flesh by Don and Jay Davis. I did do a full review of this one, and I did really like this one. I got it for just the step back cover initially, and was very pleased that the actual story was really good. It was a good monster book. It's about a Wendigo attacking a small town, Americana, small town America. Really good. If you could find this one in a used bookshop, check it out. Movie novelizations. Alien by Alan Dean Foster. I had been meaning to get to this one for some time. Finally got to it. Really liked it. I have a full review of this one up if you want to know my full thoughts. But this is the third format that I've experienced the Alien story in, obviously the movie. And I've read the comic as well by Archie Goodwin and Walt Simonson. And it works just as good as a novel. It's just a really good story, I guess, to work in all those formats. Next up, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Return to Chaos by Craig Shaw Gardner. I love Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and this was my first Buffy novel. This is an original story, not just an adaptation of one of the TV episodes. And I really like this one as well. It was like really well written fan fiction, essentially. And I actually did go and I went online and I got some more novels. I might do a separate video about that because I got quite a few. But this was a pretty good one, and it really did a great job of capturing the flavor of the TV show, so much so that I started a rewatch of the show pretty much as soon as I put this down because I just wanted to be back in that world with those characters. Next up, 2 Marvel books. Fantastic Four in Doomsday by Marv Wolfman, and Captain America in Holocaust for Hire by Joseph Silva. I did a video about both of these. I did not care for the Fantastic Four book, but I really, really enjoyed the Captain America book. These were an interesting experiment by Marvel in the 70s, and I think if you're a big comic book fan, they're a nice addition to like a collector's piece on your bookshelf, and I would highly recommend reading the Captain America one. Maybe skip the Fantastic Four one, but watch that full video for my everything thoughts. For Men's Adventure, I read The Moon Maid by Edgar Rice Burroughs, my first Edgar Rice Burroughs book, believe it or not. And I think I will probably read some more of his. I have a couple more on my shelf. I don't know when I'm going to get to them, but I had a good time with this one. Just very slight moon adventure story about a guy who's fighting centaurs and rescuing a beautiful princess. What more can you ask for? And finally, for Garbaugust books, I'm actually finishing it now. I'll be done with it probably either today or tomorrow as of this recording. Baal by Robert McCammon. I've been reading more McCammon books this year. I took a little bit of a break, jumped back into it because I think this one fit the bill for Garbaugust because it's very trashy. And I'm enjoying it, not really as much as the other books I've read by him. I think this is his first novel, and it kind of reads like that. But it's still got some pretty good stuff about it. I don't know if I'm going to do a full review of it. And I don't know how it's going to end. So we'll see if the ending maybe saves it or saves it. I'm liking it, if the ending is amazing or not. But so far, so good. So yeah, that's for Garbaugust books. This is also supposed to be for July as well. So I did read some additional books, and I plan to read some more as well before this month ends. I have I think 8 or 9 days left before the end of the month. So From Below by Darcy Coates, which I put out a full video review on. I love that book. And I can't wait to read more Darcy Coates. An underwater horror book, deep sea diving, exploring a ghost ship. Super creepy. Let's see. I also read Night of the Mannequins by Stephen Graham Jones. I am really hot and cold on Stephen Graham Jones. Some of his books I think are so good, and then there's stuff like this that it just doesn't work for me. I picked this one up, not knowing anything about it, and I read the title, Night of the Mannequins. I see a little mannequin hand looking creepy on there. I see that it's a short novella. I get a sense in my head about like, okay, this is going to be kind of a throwback to like a cheesy '50s movie that I could see in my head the terrible special effects and just like they're moving the mannequins around, like I don't know, something silly like that. And it's not that at all. It's just a first person perspective about this teenage boy who probably should be on medication. Oh no, he is on medication. Then he stops taking his meds, and then he just starts killing his friends. The spoiler alert. But actually, no, it's not even a spoiler. It's literally what the book's about. Like once you first started, that's just what the book's about. And like, it's good, but it's not what I wanted. So I don't know. This was a weird one. It just maybe if I read it again, knowing what it is, I'd like it more. But it wasn't at all what I wanted from a book called Night of the Mannequins. Um, Summer of Night by Dan Simmons. I did do a full video review of this one. Uh, Kids on Bikes. I love Kids on Bikes. This is a Kids on Bikes in a small town fighting an evil entity. Very much think like Stephen King's It, but not really as good as that, but still really solid. And it makes me want to read more Dan Simmons. A bit more of slow burn than an It or something like that. But really solid read. It was really good for the summer, so I would recommend that one and check out my full review. The Beast You Are by Paul Tremblay, the latest Paul Tremblay book, is a collection of short stories. Also have a full review of this one up. I really like Paul Tremblay, one of my favorite horror authors working today. This one, like all short story collections, some hits, some misses. Your mileage is going to vary. I recommend checking it out. And a fantasy book, Yumi and the Nightmare Painter by Brandon Sanderson. Really adored this book. Really loved this one. Really a big improvement over Frugal Wizard's Handbook, the second book in Brandon Sanderson's Kickstarter, and his third book of the year. This one was really special. This was beautiful. I think this is his best love story that he's written so far. It just works really, really well. I have a full review of it. I have an unboxing video of this one up. Check those out. Really, really like that one. And I haven't even started this one yet, but I'm very confident that I'm going to read this before the end of the month. It's going to be Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte. I have nothing to say about it because I haven't read it, and that's the point. I'm reading this as part of my back to school project, where I am reading books that I was supposed to read in high school but didn't. I very much did not read this one in high school. I don't remember anything about it. I remember there's a character named Heathcliff. I think there's several characters named Heathcliff, and there's a lot of walking about the moors. Everyone likes to go out on the moors. I don't know what they do there. So I'm going to find out. I'm really excited about it. So yeah, that's all the books that I read. That's 17 and a half books, considering I DNF'd one, which is amazing, huge output. Granted, in Garbaugust, a lot of those books were shorter, so that helped pad the numbers a bit, but still a really good output. I obviously also read some comics. Some notable comics that I finished were Hip Hop Family Tree Volume 1. It's something I've been meaning to read for a while. Obviously, I like Ed Piskor from Cartoonist Kayfabe, a channel that I try to emulate poorly on weekends here. But I hadn't actually read Hip Hop Family Tree. And I'm not a huge hip hop fan, but regardless, I picked it up. I wanted to read it. And I actually really enjoyed it. I've got Volume 2 coming in at the library, so hopefully I'll read that soon. I also read Human Target by Tom King and Greg Smallwood. Loved it. Loved it, loved it, loved it. And I've got a video about it that's coming up soon this month in September. I'm doing a deep dive on one of the issues there because I really, really enjoyed it. And I don't read a lot of modern comics, modern DC or Marvel comics. So this one really stood out to me. It was really impressive. And those are like the only like complete comic graphic novel stories I could say here, because I read a lot of just like back issues. I of single issues of titles, and I'm not going to go through each of those. But that's it. That's my wrap up. I haven't set a TBR for September because I kind of just want to just go with the flow and see what I'm feeling. The only book that I could think of that I really want to read is Ring by Koji Suzuki. Just because I have it on my bookshelf and I keep looking at it. I'm just like, it's time. It's time to read you. So we'll see how that goes. And you can expect a review of Wuthering Heights as part of my back to school challenge in September as well. But past that, we'll see. We'll see where life takes us. As always, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the Garbaugust content. We're going back to mainstream stuff now for the most part. I'll probably still be smattering in some trashy stuff once in a while because I did enjoy it. So, of everything that I read this month, if you've read any of them, let me know your thoughts. I would really love to hear it. Thank you for spending some time with me today. But now it's time to get back to reading.